before I get started, if you like the content, support the channel. Cash app down in the description. Uh, so let's get to it. So I saw a video. I believe it's called Nickelodeon's Monster or Monster. No, I'm pretty sure it's Nickelodeon's Monster, and it came out, I guess, about a year ago. So go check it out. You know, if you want more details and more complete story. But I just saw it like what today? No, yesterday. Yesterday, and like it, like it's relatively fucked up. Basically, it's another one of those stories where some messed up in the head, higher up producer, took advantage of the actors and actresses. In this case, kids. Um, Dude's name is Dan Schneider. Apparently, he was at Harvard, for a month, dropped out, moved to Memphis to work on computers or some shit. After that, you know, he abandoned that to go to LA to try his hand in, you know, Hollywood, basically, movies and producing, writing, etc. But he's produced, some of the more well-known shows. These shows that I've either heard of growing up or watched. Zoe 101. Uh, I think Drake and Josh was one of them. Um, there's quite a few of them, but yeah, he just did a bunch of messed up ish. Dude had a foot fetish, and in all of his shows, there was always this like people either showing their feet or talking about their feet or just something footsy. Me personally, like I'm not into feet, so even if there wasn't some weird situation going around it like here, I mean, I still don't want to see, I still don't want to see feet and toes, ugh. But but yeah, he even there's this clip where it's the actual site is no longer up. It redirects you to Nickelodeon.com now. But back then, it was a site to where different actors of the shows going on at that time, actors and actresses would get on and kind of interact with the audience. And I guess there was a clip with with Ariana Grande, and they had her saying some really sketchy-ish, like putting her feet in her mouth, and she was over here talking about three sentences you would never hear, someone say, and they end up being really inappropriate for a teenage girl to be, talking about to, other teenagers, kids, etc. Just messed up, you know. Um, this ties into Amanda Bynes. I had heard about Amanda Bynes in terms of her story and different things that she went through, but never like all the details per se. It's just kind of more so a generalization, basically. But anyway, she wasn't close with her family, and she wanted a emancipation from her parents, and um, I guess in the process, she or it was put out that she would be staying with this Dan Schneider dude, and apparently a lot of weird ish started happening, and you know it just kind of went from there. It kind of put her in a place to where she started to kind of spiral out and everything, and it's just fucked up. There's another situation they talk about, in the video where it has to do with Jamie Lynn Spears and how I guess one of the reasons why Zoe 101 was canceled, was allegedly when she got pregnant, it was by one of the producers, and not just any producer. It was a producer old enough to be, as they put it, her grandfather. Like in that age range. So it's just so much weird shit going on. Um, and a lot of people have heard this about Hollywood, to begin with, but to think it's so like it was going on so heavy on Nickelodeon, a very popular network with children and everything. Um, it's crazy, and the fact that that content was being aired to children. I mean, who else is watching that network? Um, but going back to Jamie Lynn Spears, all of that, I guess, is alleged because here's the thing: none of these actors or actresses that were involved really ever came forward to press charges. A lot of them, if and when they talk about it, it's very implied and coded and you know I guess in double speak in a way. Um, and it's for obvious reasons. A lot of them don't want their careers being effed up with because, they chose to speak out on someone who was at one point, powerful and had so many different shows that he either put together or helped put together. He even received a lifetime achievement award at one of these or at one of the Nickelodeon functions back in the day, So he was highly looked upon, this Dan Schneider dude, And the whole time, like he was a fucking weirdo, Um, but like I said, go check out the video, if you want to get more in depth and get a little bit more detail. I'm just kind of over here talking about my like basically how it kind of hit me, hearing about what I heard about. It brings it brings to mind, Dirty Dan, which for those of you that watch SpongeBob was, something Patrick said getting into an argument with SpongeBob, and man, does that moniker fit here? Like I swear. But it's just fucked up, I mean, it talks about how a lot of the children that came to audition for his shows and all that stuff, they would separate the parents. The parents would go and basically go into another room or into another area of the facility to, get briefed on how you handle, you know, child stardom and the press and just, the presentation side of it, I guess you would say. And the children would be out in another area by the pool, as they put it, with Dan and I guess one of his associates, and he would tell them to run around barefoot and talk about how they love being barefoot and things like that. Just very, very strange. So it's just weird, just all kinds of weird. You know, and then um, a lot of people will say, these kids or yeah, these people need to speak out, but when you get back to what I was saying earlier, it's like when you don't want your career to be affected, then that's going to hinder you as much as anything else. Because here's the thing: a lot of the well-known movie stars or um, singers that we know of now, the adults now nowadays, a lot of them were those kids during that time. This that 2005 to 2014 time frame. A lot of the well-known movie stars and um, singers that we have now were, on Disney and Nickelodeon, doing their thing and starting up. So in reality, their careers are still they're kind of still in the midst of their careers. Um, Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider have parted ways. I believe it was in 2018. They parted ways. Dan's company was Schneider's Bakery or something like that. But yeah, man, it's just some weird, weird shit, man. It's just some weird shit. But but yeah, so I just wanted to give my thoughts on it because hearing stuff like that will hit you, regardless of where you are or who you are, Um, but goodness, you want to talk about like that's the real Dirty Dan right there. All right, so um, it's just crazy, man. Just crazy. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later.